Um, my name's Ben. I'm sure you all know me. I'm 44 in like a week and a half, and there was a lot of people in my life that really didn't think I was going to live that long. Mum, she's one of them. She used to say it to me a lot, and I'm pretty sure God had other plans also. I always found it really hard to be a Christian because it's so easy not to be. Like, just all the worldly things that are really addictive are really fun, especially in the first instance. You just think, wow, that's so much fun, I'm going to keep doing that. And I was addicted to marijuana for like more than 20 years. The first part of that word says it all, marriage. I was married to it, something shocking. And they say it's a gateway drug, they know what they're talking about, but honestly, I tried speed first when I was 17, but I was addicted to dope by the time I was 20, and I was addicted to it for the next 23 years, just flat out. I was drinking at the age of 14 in pubs, and not once did they ask me for ID, and I thought, wow, I'm so lucky. Like, they really didn't ask me for ID at all until I was 18, maybe like the week I turned 18, they asked me for ID. Like, they should have asked me 4 years ago, I might not have kept coming. But I was a full-blown alcoholic by the time I was 30, easy. I was shooting up speed, I was using shard at the time, it was called Oxblood, heroin, any drug, any pill that I could get my hands on, I was on it. I was like a full-blown junkie by 35, but on and off from the age of 17, just whenever something went bad, I'd just get lost in drugs. But then I'd get so lost, I'd go looking for Jesus and then go, that's just way too hard, I'm going to go back to the drugs, like it was easier. But people think that life's hard, but being a Christian is even harder. Like I was in jail by 25, I got 18 months for theft and fraud, stealing cars. And I don't know how, it's got to be the grace of God. I only served 4 months. In the end, I served 4 months. And I stole like 20 cars. I was robbing houses, growing dope, just stealing everything that wasn't bolted down, basically, to make sure I had enough money to keep partying, to get more drugs, and to party more. But I know it was God's grace. I used to say it was luck, but there is no luck. It's all God. It's all God. I was so lost when I got out of jail though, because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I had a partner, I had 3 children, one of them I hadn't seen in 2 years. And my other 2 children were young and I just didn't know how to live respectfully. I had no idea how to live respectfully. And I didn't go looking for God at the time. Even though I knew God, I knew who God was. Mum had been going to church for years and I didn't know, so I moved to South Australia. I was dairy farming and started growing dope. And that was, so I didn't have to work in the end. I just wanted to grow enough dope, to sell enough dope, to smoke enough dope, to party more, so I didn't have to go to work. That's all I wanted to do, was not go to work. I just wanted to smoke dope and do whatever other drugs and alcohol I could find. So basically, me and my partner, my ex-partner at the time, we were together for 16 years. We got married at the time, had another child, and I got full custody of my oldest son, Jamie. I spent my whole time just arguing and drinking, taking drugs, just ignoring God. Even though I knew God was there, I didn't understand him, but I knew he was definitely there. I got saved when I was 17 at a youth rally in Melbourne. I went to a Pentecostal church with Mum, my uncle Amani, and his mum's sister. I knew God, but I chose not to understand because I didn't understand the words that were being said in church, especially when they'd say, you've got to stop riding that motorbike with no rego, you've got to stop doing those drugs, you've got to stop drinking that alcohol and partying so much, you've got to stop sleeping with all the women. And it's like, no, that's just too hard. So once again, I took the easy way, just kept living the sinful life. I didn't want to give it up. It was all drugs and alcohol and women. It was so easy to keep doing all those things and deny Jesus, so I did. I partied hard, hung out with bikies, cheated on my wife a lot, like a lot. Just got more and more angry at life, so I thought, but I was actually angry at myself, but I was too stupid to realise. I ended up divorced. I'd lost everything, my wife, my house, my car. Worst of all, I lost my children. Ultimately, I'd lost myself. I dug deeper into drugs and alcohol then. I got completely lost. It pushed everyone away further and further and further. I buried myself in work, drugs, alcohol, and as long as I was working, I was driving interstate trucks, I was earning heaps of money, so I just paid for everything for my kids and everyone around me, and basically told myself it doesn't matter what I do, as long as I keep paying for their life to live, and just, even if it was just buying tea or whatever, then I'm righteous enough. I knew there was God, but it was too hard to seek the relationship because I didn't know how to. I didn't want to look for it. It was easy to keep taking drugs. I was definitely wrong about that, by the way, because I pushed everyone away. And then I met Erin, the love of my life. I felt instantly when I met her. I couldn't explain it, but there was a spiritual connection. I'd been with many women after my divorce, and I never felt this way about anyone, not even my ex-wife, only Erin. It was just something spiritual, and I could not explain it. I couldn't stay away from her. I just wanted to be next to her all the time. So Erin and I moved in together because she felt the same thing, but she never knew God. She'd never been spiritual before at all. She knew nothing about Jesus, so to her it was just, there was a connection. She couldn't explain it either, so she started listening to me about God. I used to talk about it a lot. I still didn't get it. I didn't understand. I wasn't talking to Jesus. I didn't have the Holy Spirit. I just knew that God was there and I could talk to him and he loved me, but I figured as long as I keep paying for everything, he's going to keep loving me. It doesn't matter what I do. So I still kept taking heaps of drugs, like really a lot. I'd been driving trucks for years by this stage. I was driving interstate doing Melbourne, Sydney and Adelaide. Just flat out working, taking every drug I could to stay awake. Pills, ice, everything to stay awake for like a week at a time. And then whenever I could, so I could sleep for like one day, just one day. And so I'd just get blind drunk. I ended up having 2 heart attacks. I nearly died in the intensive care unit because I stopped breathing. And as soon as I got out of hospital, I went straight back to work. And it's because it was easy to go back to work, keep taking drugs, than it was to search for God. I pushed every limit right to the edge. The company I worked for, though, decided to give me a management position to get me out of the truck because I've been working for them for 5 years. Proved myself to work hard to the point where I didn't know how to slow down. So me and Erin moved to Hamilton here, and I know moving to Hamilton was a godsend. I know God wanted us here, and at the time I didn't know why it was. I just thought, yep, I can get a management job, I can get out of the truck, but I kept driving. Like I was managing, but I was driving as well. I was never sleeping. I was filling in for B-double drivers on the weekends, during the week. I was answering phone calls all night long to drivers that were breaking down and sick, and we had 6 kids living with us, 3 of mine and 3 of hers. I was a full-blown alcoholic. I was addicted to ice, weed. I was completely lost and broken, and I was too big-headed and prideful that I didn't want to accept any help from anyone. I knew I had to do something because my whole life was falling apart again. My parents lived just down Kenny Street, and I used to ride past on my Harley all the time, and I'd just look in and go, yeah, maybe one day I'll drive past that cross on the highway that's just stands out. I'll be driving past in the truck going, that's so cool, man. But I still never came in, and then one day I was on my Harley and I was just so lost. I just went, I'm going in, and I came in and I saw Pastor Rosie. She was the first one I seen, and I was just spun out because I looked like a bikie. I looked like drug, death, just looked like a horrible mess. Tattoos on my face, and I said, can I come in? And she said, of course you can. She was just so, what's the word?
Accepting?
Yes. I should have wrote that one down. And I sat down right there in the front row, put my helmet down, my jacket, everything, and then Pastor Rick come out, and I was just like, whoa, he was glowing. I swear he was glowing. I understood everything he said, everything. There was not one thing I didn't understand at the time, and I thought, yep, that's it, God's got me. He smacked me straight in the face. That still wasn't the saving point, though. One night when Erin went to the, she went to the ladies' retreat, I still wasn't being accountable for everything. I was still blaming everybody for everything around me. Everything was everyone else's fault. The first night that she actually felt the power of the Holy Spirit, I drank 2 slabs of bourbon. I found some ice in the cupboard, which I hadn't had any in like a month, and I went, that's it, I've given it up, but I found some. I still had needles in the cupboard too. So next you know, I've done that as well. Drank 2 slabs. I was smoking so much weed, I just completely lost control. And I didn't remember a lot of it, but I physically hurt my 22-year-old son. I abused my daughters. I shocked it. I smashed my daughter's car up. I smashed up the garage. I smashed up the house. And I got put in jail then. And by the time I got out on bail, they were all gone. Erin was gone. The kids were gone. Everyone was just gone. The pastor never gave up. He got me into Teen Challenge with the support of the whole church. I know without the church I never would have got there. I was there for 4 months and I was saved when I was there. The one point that I fully remember, I idolised Erin while I was there, so to speak. I was just all about Erin. I wrote like 6 letters a day and they banned me from writing the letters. I wanted to ring her constantly, they wouldn't let me ring her, they wouldn't let me see her. And I was walking around the camp and I was talking to God because I still didn't have the relationship yet, I still couldn't feel it yet. And I was talking to God and I kept saying, please bring my Erin to me, please let me, my Erin. And I awesomely heard the audible voice of God. He went, she's not yours, she's mine, I'm mine. And I'm like, nah, I kept walking, he goes, she's not yours, she's mine. And I heard it, I really heard it. I'm like, whoa. And that was the point, it was that point that made me go, wow, we're all his. He can hear me, I can hear him now. And then I started feeling it because I got in a lot of trouble while I was there to the point where they gave me discipline and they made me dig holes for like 10 hours a day for 15 days straight. And, but I found the relationship that I was looking for. I found it because I started hearing God, I started feeling him. I could feel everything that he wanted me to do, and it was just to do what the leaders wanted me to do because I didn't know what to do. And so when they'd say something to me about what I should have been doing, it felt right. It just felt right. Every time Erin visited me after that and I wanted to leave, it just felt wrong. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to leave. So I could just feel what was right and what was wrong. The conviction finally set in. I have no cravings. I've been clean now for 8 months. I haven't had any drinks, no alcohol, no drugs, nothing. By God's grace, I'm still alive. Yeah. Hey, Mum, prayer works. Mum prayed for me for like 20 years, and it works. By God's grace, I'm now married to Erin. By God's grace, my daughter Carly is talking to me again. By God's grace, my whole church family here at Hamilton, I've said, never gave up on me. Everyone, you're all so great. Awesome. And by God's grace, Mum comes here too. She's here, right there, and she's awesome. She's so cute. It is really hard to be a Christian, though, and I know it's harder to be a Christian than it is not to be because you've got to say no. You've got to know when to say no. And I never thought that. I never knew that in the past. I always thought, just take the drugs, just take the alcohol, just party with those people over there, go and hang out with the bikies and party all night long, and next thing you know, you wake up, it's a week later and you only remember yesterday. Just say no. I know that seeking God constantly is what I have to do because as soon as I stop seeking Jesus' face and stop talking to God, I have fits of carnality all the time. It's like, I'm frustrated. Why am I frustrated? I haven't talked to God today. And then Erin will go, pray. I'm like, no, I don't want to. And sometimes I'll put it off for 2 hours and then I'll pray and I'll instantly feel better. Just the grace of God is awesome. Prayer really works.
Yes.
Glory to God. Amen. Amen.